They're so cute. Oh, they're so tiny. So it is about 6:30 a.m. and I'm about to travel 2 hours down south to go and photograph some lion cubs at Whipsnade Zoo. So I'm going to take you along with me today. I'm meeting up with a fellow artist called Hannah Fitzsimmons, and we like to go to the zoos together around the UK to photograph the animals, get reference photos, and some lion cubs are just a little bit too tempting to pass up the opportunity to go and see. And we have made it to the zoo, and it is the perfect sunny day for it. We like coming here when it's sunny like this because we get really good high contrast photos to draw from. So we're heading towards the lions now, and hopefully we'll get to see the lion cubs. They're so cute. Oh, they're so tiny. They're tiny. As you can probably imagine, the lion enclosure was very popular. The lion cubs are currently out for only around 2 hours a day, so we felt incredibly fortunate to have timed it perfectly to see them. There were a lot of zoo volunteers around, ushering people through at a fair pace, due to everybody wanting to see the cubs. I'm not entirely sure why. Perhaps because we had cameras, but the volunteers let us stay a solid 30 minutes to photograph and watch the cubs. No arguments from us. Once we'd made the most of our time with the cubs, it was time to look around the rest of the zoo. This was our 4th visit to Whipsnade Zoo, and after being to a fair few zoos around the country, this is definitely our favourite. This isn't sponsored in any way, we just love the variety of animals, the quality and space of enclosures, the way that some animals are allowed to freely roam, and that it's a conservation zoo with a good breeding programme. Okay, so now we have had a good walk around the zoo. We've seen the lion cubs and we've got some great photos of them as well as with the tigers. We are now going to go back around the zoo, hopefully go back to the lions, see the male lion if he is out and get some good photos of him. We went back to the lion enclosure and the male was out, but he was making the most of his quiet time away from the cubs and hiding. So other than one paw, we didn't get to see him this time. When we first visited the zoo about a year ago, he only had a tuft of a mane, and when we went back a few months later, it had fully grown and he was looking like a very handsome young male. So we carried on our second walk around the zoo. This is our tactic each time we go. As much as we enjoy our days out, we are there with a mission and usually have specific animals in mind to get reference photos of. So, we typically spend the morning going to see those animals before having lunch. Then, after lunch, going around all the animals we haven't yet seen before going back to the animals that we went to see this morning. During the week, all the school groups usually go home around 2 p.m, and by about 3 p.m, most people have gone home, so we often feel like we have the zoo all to ourselves. And it also seems to be when the animals are most active due to it being a little quieter. And honestly, I can't blame them. After a tiring but successful day of photography and seeing all the animals, it was time to head home and download nearly 80 gigabytes of photos and footage I'd taken throughout the day. Okay, so it's a few weeks later now and I am finally getting around to editing these photos. Now, I plan to do a video about reference photos and how I get my reference photos very soon, so I'm not going to go too much into it in this video, but I will say that I don't always take my own reference photos. This is just one of the many ways I get my reference photos, and when there's an opportunity to go and photograph some lion cubs, I'm going to take it because I might want those in the future. So my plan isn't to draw these lion cubs anytime soon, as far as I'm aware, because I've got lots of other projects going on, lots of other ideas, and if you're into art, whether you're a professional or an amateur, you'll understand that there are so many ideas swimming around in your head that you want to draw, paint, sculpt, whatever. Now, I'm quite happy with the photos I took from the zoo. There's a few of the lion cubs together, a few individually, and then some other animals as well that I photographed, which will be great for future reference photos. I might not draw these for a long time. Sometimes I take these photos and I don't look at them again for another 5 years, and then I think, yeah, that suits a project that I want to do now, or just I see it again and it inspires me and I think, right, I have to draw that, I have to paint it, and I just go with that idea. Now, you'll have seen from the video that I had a super duper big lens on my camera, and you'll think, yeah, that's great, you can get great reference photos with that, but that was the very first time I used that camera at zoo. I've only recently bought it after 10 years of doing art full time, and until then I was either using my phone or this camera here. I've used this camera now for probably about 6 years, and it wasn't that expensive in terms of cameras. The body itself came with a smaller lens, and I think that was about £500, and then this lens here was about 200. So yeah, that is a few £100, but in terms of cameras, that's quite a good deal, and I got some really nice photos with it. This isn't a camera review, but if you're interested, I will leave a link in the description to all the camera equipment I use in case you want to have a little nosy and see what's available. But as they say, the best camera is the one you have on you, whether that's your phone, a disposable camera, or a super duper fancy professional all singing all dancing camera. Thank you for watching to the end of this video, and make sure you stick around for the bloopers of the animals, especially the otters, because there was some funky stuff going on there. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now!